Hello, I'm Dave Davis, Technical Director at DVS, and today we're going to explain what access control is. So what is access control for those people that are wondering what access control is? The simple idea of access control is to stop unauthorized access for unauthorized people into any given area. Now, that might be for a school, offices, it could be rented accommodation, it could be anywhere. It's an area where you want to prevent unauthorized access, as I said, for unauthorized people. Now, access control can also be used to track how many people are in a building and where they are, and also to stop unauthorized access being passed back to somebody who's not authorized. So it's all about controlling access to a building, an area, a room, or a site. That is the simplicity of access control. So in this video, we're going to do a simple explanation of how to design an access control door. And from there, once you've got one door, you can replicate that across many doors and many sites. So now we're going to show you an example of the door furniture that a typical access control door would require. Now at DVS we have our complete range of door furniture accessories, and let me walk you through what a typical door would need. Now every door can be slightly different, but this is 80% of what a door would need in most typical installations. So we're going to start with the exit button. Now the exit button comes in many different forms. So we do have a powered touch-free exit button that allows you to open the door simply without even touching the button. So it's very, very convenient, with an LED light that indicates whether the door is open or closed at that time. We also have the simple push to exit button. This is a simple rocker switch, like typical to, or very similar to a light switch, and also the very common big green button style. Love that. So every door requires a way to get from the secure side to the non-secure side using a RTE, request to exit device. And like I said, we have many different versions in stock. Now typically all doors will also contain a break glass unit. This allows you to get out of the secure area should a fire occur and you have to put the door into free entry to allow evacuation, rather than the fire alarm triggering the actual whole fire system and all the doors opening. Now typically they will all come with a cover which prevents accidental misuse, and they can be monitored to tell you when and where they've been pushed accidentally or sadly maliciously in some cases. Now every door will need a locking device. This is what we refer to as a maglock or magnetic lock, and again they come in many different versions. This is a slimline single one. We also do them, this is quite heavy, in a double maglock version for the double doors, comes with the magnets, and we do a range of brackets. Now typically most doors will have a Z and L bracket to allow you to fix it on the secure side and allows you to adjust it so it closes nice and neatly. Now there are external rated ones, heavier rated ones with a more holding force, strike locks, automated doors, and if it's a certified fire door, there's a whole different locking setup that can go on a certified fire exit door. So every door will have some kind of locking mechanism that needs to be picked up, wired into or fitted, a request to exit sensor, button or device, and a break glass unit typically. Now there could also be a reader, so you have read in and read out to allow you to do the anti-passback function, so you know who is in what area and to prevent unauthorized access between areas. But this is a very simple setup, so a request to exit button, a break glass and a locking device. So what does the central control element of an access control system look like? Well, we have an example of a Suprema 4-door controller, which is a very typical solution in the marketplace. Now, lots of different manufacturers do theirs slightly differently, but it's a very generic way of wiring up and controlling a centralized access control system. So if we open the unit itself, this unit would provide the mains power. This is typically fitted in a secure room, but it could be fitted next to the door, on the secure side, above a ceiling, or somewhere out of view. But it does require mains power to the unit. So if we open up this 4-door controller, again, to show you what it looks like inside, you can see It has a power supply unit here, which will power all of the readers, the locks, the request to exits, the break glasses, if they're powered, etc. And all the network connections will be wired back and made off in this really convenient box. And then it's secured with a screw or potentially a lock on the front of the unit. Now, fundamentally, all access control needs mains PSU to power it, but it also needs battery backup. So whether you're using a centralized system ACU like we are with the Suprema unit, or whether you're using a standalone PSU next to the door because it is not in this typical environment, they will still need battery backup. And the reason they need battery backup is because when the mains happens to go off, and it does go off from time to time, you want the door to remain secure for as long as possible. When the mains goes off, the last thing you want is for all your doors to open and give free entry and exit to anybody at any time. So it's essential that you do fit the appropriate battery like we've done in this controller here. And again, that's something that we can supply and advise on. So all of this is your centralized control, your network connection. It can be standalone and all wired back to this really all-purpose, all-in-one unit. So this is another example of a controller by our partner Hartmann. So if you want to scale your access control, now you could start at one door, but you may want to scale that over many doors. So using a modular access control ACU, like the one I have in front of me, it allows you to centralize your cabling into one or some controllers in an area very simply. And because it's modular, it's very scalable. So all of your wiring will still go back to this control point. So your RTEs, your request to exits, your centralized door monitoring, your Maglocks or your door strikes or your door openers, your break glass units, they will all be wired back to this ACU. And this one supports up to 8 doors. And that could be read in and read out, or just read in. You wire it in, you provide your battery backup, and obviously your mains power is supplied by an independent battery backed up PSU. And you have your network connection, which allows your software to be able to communicate with each individual controller for on-site programming. Now, most access controllers require software to talk directly to the unit. Some manufacturers allow that to be hosted in a cloud off-site solution. So if it's something that you want flexibility of or to change later on, this is a great way to scale your access control using a modular system like we have in front of us. But again, the wiring, the principle is exactly the same on all manufacturers. They come back to a centralized point where the power is provided and all your interconnecting is done, and you program the system through the software interface. So let's talk about readers. Now, readers and the type of installation application are going to be dependent on one or two things, if not both. One, what your client's needs are, and two, what their budget is. Readers can start from a very cost-effective solution to a very comprehensive and a more costly solution. So let's talk about the type of readers in use typically today in the UK. So we could have simply a very simple RFID solution or a prox tag solution using a simple card or fob where you present it to the reader. If access is granted or authorized or allowed, the door will open. If it's not, it simply won't. Now, that is a very cost-effective way to have access control. The problem with that is if you lose one of these fobs, somebody can pick it up and gain access to that area. So you can enhance the security by stepping it up to something like this, where it is a prox and keypad combination. So the user not only has to have the fob or the card, they also have to have a PIN code. So you are enhancing the security from a simple lost card scenario. And that is probably the most widely used application in the UK currently. But again, it does not suit all use cases. So what else could we do? Now, there are other options, and that can be including or combining the use of cards with biometrics. So if you look at on the left-hand side here, we could use a fingerprint reader. So we could have fingerprint, which is unique to that individual, and a card. So again, much enhanced use, but again, the cost is more than the standard prox solution. You could make it very easy to use and have a face biometric solution. So using the face recognition solution, a user simply walks up to the unit, once the face is read, if access is authorized, the door will open. Again, it's touch-free, very quick and convenient, and you can't lose your face. So it becomes a very secure solution. But you can also use combinations of these technologies together. There is other solutions on there. So on this side, there's QR codes. So if you were a visitor and you wanted a really neat and quick solution for visitors to allow them to access certain areas, we can use QR codes, and especially this brand new QR code reader from Suprema is one example of how we can issue convenient ways for visitor management using a simply issued QR code at no cost, and then it allows the user or visitor to access the site very easily and conveniently. And again, you can combine these technologies together. And if you want to take it one step further, using a technology like this is a cloud-based solution. Whilst it is a card and pin, which we have used, it is also a cloud-based solution, which actually removes the need for the hardware on site, and it simply talks to the cloud platform and you manage the access through here. Yes, it can be more expensive and more not as convenient as an on-site solution, an on-prem solution, but it is a very nice modern way of using access control. You can actually use your smartphone with this kind of reader. So you issue the token or the authority to get through a door, and with your smartphone, you can present it using Bluetooth. And if you're authorized, the door will open. So again, a very convenient and safe way to use access control in a cloud solution without the need for a lot of the on-prem stuff. So there's multiple ways the readers can be deployed. It all depends on what your customers' wants and needs are, and of course, what their budget is. So speak to DVS and we will help design a system that is within that budget range. So let's move on to the cable element. Every access control supplier fundamentally uses largely the same cable type. And again, supplied through our partner SecureFlex and in stock at DVS, we're going to talk about the generic cable types. But please do check with the cable manufacturer or the supplier and manufacturer of the access control unit that the cable you're using is suitable for its use before you install it and you have problems. So most request to exits, door contacts for monitoring, and break glass monitoring will be in standard alarm cable. Now there's different types of alarm cable. It could be 4-core, 6-core, 8-core, etc. But most people will wire access control, the RTEs, the break glass monitoring and door contact in standard alarm cable, and that's absolutely fine. Now moving on to the reader. Now all readers require a cable, and generally it will be Belden equivalent or Belden cable for the reader, and it could be a 4-core, 6-core or 8-core. Again, we can help and advise on that. The Belden, if it needs Belden, is for the data element and to power the reader itself, and Belden or Belden equivalent cable is used and it's very immune to RF interference, which means the signal is likely to work consistently and give you a trouble-free access control system. So a word of warning, if your reader does require a Belden or a Belden equivalent cable and you use a nondescript cable that doesn't match the requirement, you are likely to have a lot of problems with your access control. So please make sure the reader and cable are compatible. And again, out of this lovely selection of cables, we can have the power cables, and that would be to control the ACU that we talked about. Or you can have the door control cable, so your Maglock cable typically will be wired in a 2-core 0.75 flex from the power supply location to the Maglock location, or the lock control mechanism that is used on your choice. And that could be from your control flex, or it could be from your flexible power cable. It depends on the power draw and the voltage required at that door controller itself. So a typical example of the cable types used in the access control industry is on this lovely board here, but again, we will help and advise of what is necessary for your access control installation. So now we've given you the very basic fundamentals of an access control system and this componentry. Let's show you it in use. And like we touched on in the video, simple prox card using a reader. This does have a PIN code option. I can open the door, access will be granted, and the door will open. It's a very simple way to use access control. Now, if I wanted to make it a little bit more secure, but a little bit more complex, using my face, Now let's see if the face does it. Using this face recognition terminal, the door has now opened. So that is just two different examples of how an access control system can be deployed and used. And again, the different technologies can be used for different people in different areas. One size does not fit all in this instance. If you want to know any more, access granted through the use of our DVS sales reps will help support it, design it, supply it. We'll technically pre-sales and support it post-sales, and we'll design a system that fits your needs. All you need to do is take the first step and contact your DVS sales rep.